Hello beautiful bookworms, my name is Katarina and welcome to my channel. So today is Wednesday and for that reason I'm doing another Top 5 Wednesday. Top 5 Wednesday was created by Ginger Reads Laney, and if you don't know her, I will leave her link down below and also our Goodreads group link for some topics for the next 3 Wednesdays to come. So without further ado, I will tell you the topic for this Wednesday, and the topic is favorite science fiction and fantasy books. And actually, I don't read a lot of science fiction, not because I don't like it, but because I don't have a lot of books about that. Like, I always felt like fantasy was more my thing than science fiction. Like, I don't know why, but I'm still open to science fiction, though, but yeah. So I decided I was going to do this Top 5 Wednesday only about favorite fantasy books. So without further ado, I will tell you my top 5 favorite fantasy books. And it was very, very hard, like, to choose 5 books only. So obviously I'm not talking about Harry Potter because I'm pretty sure that Harry Potter is, without saying, like, one of the favorite fantasy books of pretty much everyone that's going to do this Top 5 Wednesday. So yeah, I'm not talking about that because that will be like cheating. Yeah, so on number 5 we have The Wizard of Oz by Frank L. Baum. And The Wizard of Oz was, like, discounting Harry Potter, obviously, one of the first, like, fantasy books that I have ever read, and I absolutely love it. I still love it, and I actually bought, like, the, 2 books that Gregory Maguire wrote that actually then gave birth to the musical Wicked, and I haven't watched Wicked, which is, like, a pain on my heart constantly, but I love it. And, like, the Wicked Witch is one of the best characters ever. My relationship with Dorothy is complicated. I would like to be Dorothy, but at the same time, I don't want to be Dorothy because I like the Wicked Witch better. So I don't know, but I love The Wizard of Oz, and it's definitely one of my favorites. Number 4. And yes, this is going to be in here, deal with it. It's Alice in Wonderland, and Alice in Wonderland is freaking amazing. And when I read this the first time was like I was on an acid trip, like for real. I couldn't understand what was going on, and so I decided I would reread it like as I was growing older so that I could see if my opinion changed. I read this when I was very, very young, so I couldn't understand like the basic point of this book, but now I actually understand it, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of times I say that I would love to live in Wonderland. And yeah, because I believe in a grown-up Wonderland, and yeah, this is very, very hard to explain, but Alice in Wonderland has a deep meaning to me that a lot of books don't have, if you get what I'm saying, and it's really complicated not to put this on the top 5 favorite fantasy books, because, yeah, it's not a supposedly, like, normal fantasy book, because of the characters and because of the world building and stuff like that, but it is a fantasy book, like, guys. It is a fantasy book, and I love it, and I read it when I was a young child, and I read it when I was a teenager, and I read it again now that I am supposedly a new adult, some kind of stuff. And I love it even more every day and every time that I read it. So it had to be in here. Number 3, and now we are taking the guns. Number 3 is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. And this book is amazing. Like, the writing is beautiful, the world building is crazy. And basically this is the story about, like, a famous wizard called Kvothe. And actually people don't really know if he existed or if he just a legend or if he's like, yeah, people don't know. And this starts when this guy goes into like this pub and he sees Kvothe and he's like, "You're Kvothe and I want to write your story." And so Kvothe tells him that he can only write the story on his way, like exactly the way he says the words, and he has only like 3 days to write the story, and the 3 days are the supposed 3 books of this series, And I actually have to say that I'm dying to read the third book because yeah. And it is beautiful, like his journey and everything he went through, and the character development is freaking awesome, and like descriptions of the world are very good, and the descriptions of the music, like I died with the descriptions of the music. It's so yeah, it's one of my favorites without a doubt. Number 2 is the Mistborn Trilogy by Brandon Sanderson, obviously, and this had to be there, and yeah, this is what fantasy means to me. Like, you have great character development, you have, well, great action sequences written like you are watching a movie, and you have a great, like, no, it's more than great, it's the best, like, magic system I have ever read about. And yeah, okay, maybe some of you are like, what, the best? Yeah, no, it's the best. Like, it's amazing, it's freaking amazing, and I've heard that all of his books have great magic systems, but this blew me away. And the ending of this book, I couldn't read for a long time after the ending of this book. The endings are freaking awesome. And yeah, so I love it. Brandon Sanderson is a fantasy master, and yeah, I think I will love everything that he writes, so I'll probably have to do a top 5 Brandon Sanderson, but yeah, I love this book. And the first one is the Darklands Trilogy by Anne Bishop, and I know a lot of people don't know this, and this is so underrated, it actually hurts my heart, and I'm trying to convince everybody that I know to read this book, but they don't want to read it because it's like, oh, it's written by a woman and it's dark fantasy, so it's going to be shit. It's not. It's so good, and actually the fact that it's written by a woman has nothing to do with the fact that it's good. And it actually, the main characters are dudes, so it has nothing to do with that. It's just perfect. It has a really considerable, like, I don't know, I can understand this magic system way better than I understand other magic systems, with the exception maybe of Brandon Sanderson's magic systems, and it's really a conceivable magic system. Like, you can understand that it could actually be like that, and why wouldn't it be? And the characters are so interesting, and they have so much development, and the relationships between them, and like the thin line between good and evil, and the fact that the land is actually a character too. Like, you have to nourish it and take care of it, and that's why they exist, basically, and stuff like that. And the races, like, yeah, there's a lot of races in this trilogy, but the races are so well thought of, and yeah, it's mind-blowing. It's pretty amazing, and I love this book, and the trilogy, yeah, and all of the books that are set in the Darklands world. So yeah, this had to be the first one. Like, I reread this book and the 2 others of the trilogy 4 or 5 times, like, yeah, and I always felt it was great, so it had to be on the first spot. So I hope you guys like this Top 5 Wednesday, so please, if you like it, leave a like or subscribe, and tell me what your favorite fantasy books are. Bye!